to the Talent Optimization Podcast, the go-to podcast for CEOs and HR professionals wanting to bridge the gap between the strategy and tactical implementation of talent optimization within their organizations. Through interviews, predictive index, and personal experience, your host, Tracy Shirk, helps you discover the facets of talent optimization from both a CEO and HR perspective to truly create the dream team for your organization. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Welcome to the Talent Optimization Podcast. We have an incredibly special treat today. We are chatting with Dave Workman, and he is a senior yard guy from Amwood Homes. And Dave is joining us as we chatted with April Moldenhauer last week from Amwood. We talked about the transformation Amwood has really gone through with optimizing staff inside of their organization. And so often we don't necessarily chat with the employees in our organization about what their perspectives are. So Dave, I am so excited to hear about your story and what has specifically kind of changed and why you came back to Amwood after you left.
Well, I came back because I like the crew that I work with, and I like the atmosphere, and it's kind of up my alley of what I like to do. It's a fast-paced environment, and it's busy all the time. I think it's a fun place to work. I got a good relationship with the bosses and, some of the higher up people in the corporation. If you have a problem with something, it's always nice to have somebody to talk to about problems, not just in the work area either. Also, if you have personal problems as well, it's an open door policy and you can talk to them about anything. And it's nice. You get physical help and also mental help if you need it. And it's a really nice environment.
So what I'm hearing you say is that there's definitely trust there between yourself and your supervisors. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely. You have to earn that trust. You don't just get it right away. You have to earn it, just like in, daily life out in open life,
Yeah.
You go to meet somebody new, you have to earn their trust, like relationships or, anything.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you've developed that really strong, trusting relationship with the team at Amwood.
How I developed it? You have to be honest about everything, If you can't be honest, then what's the use of trying to, be ahead of something? But I work really hard at what I do, and I help my other peers here at work, and my bosses need help. I'm always there to help anybody, and they know that. Everybody knows that they need something, they can call upon me. It's just not just me and myself, it's other people as well.
So it's the team, like that team has a really strong relationship with each other and commitment, not only to each other, but to the work that's being done.
Right.
Awesome.
If you can't work as a team, then you shouldn't really be here, really, if you want to be specific.
Yeah. And how would you define a good working team? Like, what's a team you want to work with?
Good working team?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like anything. You're going to have your arguments. You're going to have your, differences. But all in all, I think that builds a stronger relationship as well. If you're working with somebody long enough, you know what they're going to do before they do it. And it's a lot easier to work with that person, because if you can work together and be a step ahead of the other guy, everything will work out a lot smoother. And especially like I work around the forklifts and the trucks and stuff like that a lot. And if you can't read the person that's going on with the forklift, you can get hurt. And safety is a big thing here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see me, but I have high vis shirts on, and then that's a big thing that changed from the time I left to when I came back is safety. There's a lot more safety stuff going on here, and they're trying to make it safer for everybody.
And why did you leave?
Why? Well, the predecessor that was here before, our plant manager, him and I didn't see eye to eye. about certain things, and there was a lot of negative things going on. There's a lot of things that I did that he asked me to do. Like when we moved our plant from Toledo to Montezuma, I basically set up all the equipment for a lot of the lines here that builds the walls and the trusses. He was hiding the fact that I was down here helping him do it. And then it's basically I was trying to make him look good, and he was taking all the credit for everything. I figured, well, it'd be better for me just to throw it in the air, walk away, versus getting myself into more trouble than what it was worth.
Right.
I was upset. I was mad. And so walk away from a situation rather than deal with it other ways.
Right. So what I'm hearing is that you weren't given the recognition and the appreciation, and someone else took that. And therefore, without that, it's like, all right, I'm better off just leaving than sticking around, right? That's a huge impact that our leaders have when we're working in organizations.
Well, it's also the fact that, he's telling me to do one thing, and then another person's telling me to do it another way. The higher boss is telling me to do it one way. My boss is telling me to do it another way.
So contrast that situation with the team and the lack of trust to what you currently have in a high trust team and high trust and with your supervisors or your higher ups, right? Where not only can they trust you to do what you say you're going to do, but you can trust them. Is that correct?
Exactly. And
awesome.
It's better now than what it was. I mean, they know that if they ask me to do something, I'll do it, and I'll do my best to do it to their likings. I can basically give my ideas to them, and they'll try to put my ideas into work. Yeah. And a lot of times it works out really good. Like the stacking the lumber and my organization, I hear all the time, you've done an amazing job. Of the organization. It was all a mess, and I came back. I had it organized before I left, and then I come back, and it's a total disaster. It's taken me almost a month to get everything back organized the way it was.
Right.
And I noticed that we having more product to build product than what it was when I came back, which is nice because we don't have to search for scraps to build something. We have it there now.
Right.
And it's great. I enjoy it.
Because it's making your work easier, right? It's making the workday more fun. Yeah.
It is.
And Dave, how do you like to be recognized?
For my hard work. I like to be recognized for my hard work, my efforts, and my goofiness. Because I come through here and, I chit chat with a few people, as I'm walking through, I'll make faces at them or hand gestures. And
you make their day as much as,
Oh, definitely. I'd rather have somebody smiling at me than frowning at me.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of the older guys that I've worked with that transitioned from Tama or Toledo to Montezuma, they were, a lot of the senior guys, they know me and they know how I am, and I'm trying to get newer people warmed up to me, but they're not quite sure of who I am. I got a new nickname now. It's called the New Old Guy, which is great. I enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. One of the key things, with the kind of the fun culture, but meeting those results and doing it in a way that we're really serving individuals is ensuring we've got the right people in the right seats inside the organization. So what have you noticed from when you left, how individuals were put in positions or titles in Toledo to the position titles and, the ability to grow in the organization now?
The most difference that I've seen was the atmosphere is a little bit less tense like it used to be. It seems like a lot of the guys can work together as a team versus trying to fight each other. You can't play tug of war when you're both pushing. You know what I'm saying? So it don't quite work out that way. It don't work out great. Tug of war is supposed to be fun and enjoyable. You can't play tug of war when you're both pushing the rope.
Yeah.
So
that might be the title of this episode. You can't play tug of war when you're both pushing. That's good.
Well, like my grandpa used to say all the time, and I've always had it imprinted in my head. He says that, one horse can pull a loaded wagon, but it's much easier with a team.
Yeah.
That's always been imprinted in my head, and I try to preach that to my kids as well.
Yeah. And so when you look at kind of how your role in the organization, and it's an incredibly important role, and as you've grown into that role, how has not only the team of guys and gals that you're working with, but how has that leadership team and the influence of April and that HR impacted that inside of the plant?
Well, it's a big impact. We have a lot more communication now than what we used to. And there's a few things that I kind of frown upon that has changed, but we're still trying to work on the change, trying to get used to it. Sometimes it's hard to get used to a change when you're so used to doing something one way, and then you come back and it's like totally different. You have to relearn how to do things differently. But, with the help of other people, they say it takes 21 days to make a habit. So if you can do it in 21 days, then you can make a habit out of it. So, you just have to deal with the changes, and you can go complain about it, but it's not going to do any good because that's how they want to have it done. And a lot of the changes really have to do with safety.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say enough about safety because nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. They want to see you come back the next day.
Right.
So,
and because they value you, right?
You don't want to have that. If they value you as much as, they show you, that's another big thing. They show a lot of value towards their employees. Every day I have my bosses tell me, thank you for today. You did an awesome job. See you again tomorrow. And thank you. You got to say that back. You got to say thank you. Appreciate it. It makes you feel good. Makes you feel like you did a complete job throughout the day.
Awesome. And so for our executives listening into our conversation today, what's one key takeaway that you have for them as far as how do they create a great team and a great work environment for their staff?
You have to weed out the troublemakers, because there's always going to be that one person that's going to cause trouble or, have drama. No matter where you go, you're going to have that. But it's nice to, that, like the saying goes, you see something, say something.
Yeah.
If you see somebody causing trouble or problems, you need to say something because you can't have that in a work environment.
Right. Because it doesn't make it fun to come to work every day.
It don't. You can goof off and have fun and still do your work and have it completed.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're being safe about it. And I can't say, like I said, you can't say too much about safety.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And what about for, we have individuals that are in like April's role listening into our conversation. What do you think is important for them to hear?
It's important to them to hear that, they're doing a good job. I believe they're trying their best to help everybody out. And their attitudes help out a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
They're meaner. You can't come in and act like a boss and be like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Well, we have meetings and, they explain to you, well, we should do this and this and this. Some guys don't like it. They'll go back on the floor and they're like, oh, that's dumb. Well, no, it's not dumb. It's just they want things done a certain way. There's your way, there's his way, there's my way, and then there's Amwood way.
That's the program we signed up for.
Yeah, you signed up for it, so you have to do it. Yeah. And I'm not going to complain. That's part of protocol. We're doing, in the mornings now, we're doing stretches. I mentioned that to my fiance one day, and she's a nurse. And I told her, yeah, we're starting to do stretches now in the mornings. And she's like, oh, yeah, that can help prevent injuries and accidents. And I was like, what do you mean? And she says, you do stretches and you wake up your muscles, and when you wake up your muscles, you're more alert about what you're doing. And she says it does help. Even nurses and doctors and stuff, they even do stretches before surgery.
Right.
So, I mean, it has its benefits.
Right. And your attitude is something that, that's one of the great things about being on a team is we can bring each other up or we can bring each other down. Right. And I also wanted to say congratulations on your upcoming wedding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, I'm nervous about it. It's
all
okay.
The new things we're nervous about, right?
Oh, yeah. I was nervous of coming back because I figured my other peers, I'd be like, oh my gosh, what did he do to come back, but I sent an email to April and I asked her if there's a possible way I can come back. And probably went through a lot of meetings. I don't know what happened, but I'm back, and I guess that's great. I enjoy it here. The only thing I don't enjoy is being outside when it's really cold outside.
And that's why they brought the framers inside to frame inside versus out in the middle of a Wisconsin and Iowa winter, right?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, people ask me, what does Amwood do? And it's like, oh, we build homes. Oh, you build houses. It's like, well, it's not just like building any house. I mean, yes, it's stick framed. It's not like, pre-manufactured in a way. We call it panelized housing. Yeah. I like them. I've been through some finished houses. I've seen how I've been out in the fields. I've worked. When I first started with Amwood, I was a yard guy. I was kind of low on the totem pole. I graduated to be a truck driver, and truck drivers also do rigging and stuff for our crane guys. We have our own cranes. So I was rigging and driving truck, and I've seen how the houses are put together, and I was amazed how fast a house can be put together. We can build a house here in the plant in 2 to 3 days, and we can have a house with the floors and walls and roof on in 3 to 4 days. And I was amazed how good it comes together, and everything about the homes are really nice. I like them.
You just said something that I loved, and that was where you started in your position and how you've grown and how Amwood supported that, but your hard work has supported those opportunities, right?
Right.
And then as you're talking about the homes and the opportunity that you have to really, hey, you're doing this one thing, but you get to see the finished product, right? And the homes that we're building and the impact that has. What I heard and what I saw in your eyes, I know our listeners can't see your eyes, but what I saw was this fulfillment in what we're doing is personally fulfilling to you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that? I just want to make sure I'm not putting words in your mouth.
No, you're not putting words in my mouth. I totally agree with you. Definitely, 100%. I like it here. Like I said, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else if I didn't have to.
Yeah. I don't think April's going to let you go, by the way.
Oh. Maybe here in quite a few years, I might have to leave because I'd like to have this as my retirement. I wouldn't go anywhere else. I like it here. I like the atmosphere. I like the bosses. There's probably a few bosses I haven't met, maybe, but I remember the first time I met the owner. His name, I believe, is Doug Scott. I remember the first time I met him. I was out mowing on a tractor in Toledo. He stopped me and introduced himself, and that was great. It's just maybe a 30-second conversation, but at least he stopped and made an effort to introduce himself, and that kind of brought, light to the end of the tunnel sometimes, especially if, your boss comes up and shakes your hand, is like, hey, never met me. I'm good. I'm the owner and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know what to say. I was nervous, but I was also busy. It's starting to rain, so I wanted to get the yard mowed before it started raining. But yeah, I
want to meet you, but can you pick a more opportune time, please?
Right. But he didn't have time, and I haven't seen him since.
Right.
The guys that's below him I've seen quite often, and even I don't know what his position is, but his name is Aaron. He came up to me not that long ago. He says, "You're doing a good job, thank you," and that means a lot. Even just a small thank you and a pat on the back means more than anything.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Especially it don't make much to make me happy.
And I think that's a lot of us though, right? Is it doesn't take much. It's just you
But it shouldn't.
appreciating what I'm doing, right?
Just appreciate, your day and just appreciate you being here every day.
Absolutely. And I so appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today and to chat with our listeners. One of the things that we really do is we want to make it feel like they're in the room with us in our conversation. So thank you so much for having this conversation with us and for what you do every day, Amwood, because I know, April thinks very, very highly of you and, the work that you're doing. So
awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
You as well.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Talent Optimization Podcast. You'll find more tools and resources for CEOs and HR professionals looking to bridge the strategies versus implementation gap of talent optimization at elevatedtalentconsulting.com. We've also created a free, valuable resource for you to begin bridging the gap called the Talent Optimization Foundation Membership Program. You can access it for free at elevatedtalentconsulting.com/foundation. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode to learn more about talent optimization and creating a dream team for your organization.